So when I say that selling doesn't work, I want to submit the first piece of evidence. Selling doesn't work because of this. There's your evidence. You don't have to believe me. In fact, the best example that selling doesn't work, if sales training actually worked, if sales training actually worked, the federal government would pay for it for all of us. Why? Because it would drive up tax revenue. They would pay for it if we could prove that it actually has worked. For 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, all the money that was spent on sales training was wasted. So look at my example too. I was working for these big companies. They would send 200-300 salespeople a year back to the big sales training. Nothing changed after that. We didn't have a big spike in sales 90 days after the sales training. The great salespeople still made money. The bad salespeople still failed. So it didn't work. It was kind of like the king has no clothes. No one wanted to admit the king has no clothes. That number there, that's how many wealthy people there are in the United States today. 1% make it. That's it, 1%. And that number includes salespeople, everybody. 1% make it in the United States, not the world, the greatest country in the world with the best opportunity, only 1% make it. And why is that? Well, the analogy I want you to think of, I want you to picture a river here. We'll call it the river of wealth right here in this room. And on this shore is the 99%. 99% is on this shore over here. Now, granted, not all 99% want to be wealthy, let's be fair. But let's say a lot of them do. You're probably in that one, you're probably in that group, if you're not already in the 1% that wants to be wealthy, you wouldn't be in this room. So 99% is on this shore, and on this shore is the 1%. And we're saying, hey, come on over. There's plenty of room over. It's not empirical. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be this way. Come on over. So what the people that want to pursue wealth, what they do is they start looking for the bridge. They start looking for the bridge. So you look for the bridge of knowledge. You know, and how many of you read 1, 2, or all 3 of these books, by the way, by show of hands? I've read all 3. Phenomenal book. Phenomenal books. It's not like the information is not out there. Again, let's look at the evidence. Let's just not stick our head in the sand. 70+ million people have read 1, 2, or all 3 of those books. There's 3 million wealthy people. So even the people that they're pursuing the knowledge. They're trying to get across that river on the knowledge bridge. They start walking across the knowledge bridge. It doesn't materialize wealth. They come running back. Go, oh, that didn't work. So, great information. It doesn't make anybody wealthy substantially. If you just look at that example, 95% of the people that read those books do not materialize any wealth as a result of them. And yet it's great information. So then I'm going to walk further down the shore, and now I'm going to look for the bridge of fearlessness. I'm going to work on my attitude. I'm just going to overcome my fears, because selling's all about fears. Cold calling, public speaking, presenting. You got to take that action. So I'm going to go to some 8-hour program, perhaps. At the end of that program, I might walk across some hot coals even. Good programs. And now I'm fearless. And then I try to cross that fearless bridge, and the fearlessness doesn't change me. So imagine that river. I try to cross that bridge, and the fearless thing has not changed me at all from a making money perspective or from an accumulating wealth. So we cross that bridge, it's rickety, we run back to the shore, go, oh man, I don't know what's going on. Now how about the bridge of activity? I'll just have more at-bats. That's what I'll do. I'll just have more at-bats. Robert Kiyosaki would have something to say about that. You cannot make 10 times more money working 10 times more hours. That's not wealth. I redefine my definition of wealth. See, people think wealth is you got to make $1 million a year. You got to make $1 million passively. That's some of the theories up here. To me, wealth is this. To me, wealth is having no bills, making $5,000 a month passively, and being with my family. To me, that would be wealth. That's a lot easier definition. A lot easier definition. And what I believe, too, wealth does not exist on the money line like people think. Wealth exists on the timeline. Wealth is about time, not about money. Time is the most precious resource. Being with your family,